Hey Denchbags, what's going on? It's Landon Remixes here, and welcome to my review of the third album from Christian worship band Hillsong United. And I was extremely hyped for this record. I can't get over, honestly, how much hype I had for this record. And I can't believe I was so hyped for this record. It's very understandable, though, however, when you think about their last and second full-length album, Zion, was probably one of the best records of the decade. It came out in 2013 and included the hit song Oceans Where Feet May Fail, and that was a big #1 single, showed a lot of influence in the Christian world as well as some mainstream appeal, and this is without a doubt their most popular song ever and had a lot more radio play than I've ever heard of any worship song in my entire life. And this song, and along with the rest of this record, which I had viewed as something that completely changed the game for me worship music-wise, actually kind of got me back into worship music following the release of this record. After taking a break from this style of music for many years, I'd stopped listening to worship music until the Zion record came out, and that record was absolutely incredible. Probably going to include it in my top 10 albums, or solid 10s albums list that I'm going to release later this year. Anyway, following that record, I was super hyped to listen to this record, Empires, which I found out and was announced this year. I found out earlier they had posted in a tweet that they were releasing a new record, and I freaked out. I was really hyped to hear a new record from Hillsong United. I'm going to stop blabbering about my excitement for this album and get into the actual details of this album. And overall, I feel like Hillsong took it a step down from where they had it with Zion, and honestly a step back from where they were going musically. Instead of going into more of a progressive rock, worship, electronic kind of sound, they were kind of building something really awesome there. They take a step back, mellow it down, get into a softer worship with electronic undertones with this record. Although a lot of it sounds similar and retains a common theme, I didn't feel like this one was as solid as Zion was, which I was really hoping it would be, because this band definitely has a lot of potential. Also, the fact that Hillsong United kind of overuses Taya Smith, who sang in Oceans, that was a big hit last year, especially in tracks like Touch the Sky, which I wasn't too crazy about. They try to capture some hearts with a melody at the chorus that I just feel like wasn't necessarily as good as it's made out to be. And honestly, they do take some chances with this album, which I really like, and but honestly, I think the main point that I'm trying to make is that it was indeed a step back from Zion, and that they could have made something a lot better progressing forward, rather they're taking a small step back. And don't get me wrong, I actually did really like this record, and you'll find out whenever I give it its rating, but right now I'm going to just get into this. They use a variety of vocalists. There's 3 or 4 vocalists that are shown off on this album. There's the main 3 from Zion, and then there's another one that sings on the song Empires, which is a very long song, not necessarily drawn out. That's one of my favorites. I'm just going to talk about that one right now. It goes on and on. Very powerful worship song, very mellow, and kind of leading into a little bit of a rock edge, which I felt like progressed back into the Zion sound. And with this record, there aren't a lot of hard rock worship songs, which is kind of what I really liked about the last record, where they had Nothing Like Your Love. There was A Million Suns too, and I feel like they just had less tracks like this and less really standout tracks that they really had a lot of those in the last record, like Relentless, that's one of the big ones, Scandal of Grace, and these are just a lot of tracks that you can pick out easily. Rather, with this new album, it's really very similar sounding with tracks, honestly just not as diverse and powerful as the last record. And I don't want to really compare it, but you kind of have to when it's the same band, and I want to respect this record as much as I can, and I do. And I'm not saying this is a bad record by any means at all. I'm just saying it's definitely a step back from where they were heading. There's the track Say the Word, which might actually be my favorite track with Taya Smith on this record, other than the final track, Closer Than You Know, and that one features a couple, 2 or 3 of the vocalists at the same time, and the part with Taya Smith is definitely one of my favorite appearances that she makes in the record. Like I said, Say the Word, one of the most powerful tracks on this record. I did like it more than Touch the Sky. Touch the Sky I don't dislike, but I don't love it a lot. It's getting a lot of radio play right now, which is really exciting, but I just wish they'd play one of the other tracks. Obviously not one of the 8 or 9 minute tracks on this record like Empires. That one I kind of skipped and stopped talking about. It kind of fades out, goes into this little kick, and then comes back in as a track, and just absolute beauty. Really good track. A lot of the tracks, like I said, sound the same toward the middle. We get into the song Even When It Hurts, and this one's actually one of my favorites on the record. One of the ones that, like I said, they were taking a bit of a chance with this one. Taya Smith, I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Taya, it might be Taya, but I think it's Taya. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but honestly, I just don't really know and haven't really looked up to check. She's definitely one of the best vocalists of our generation, and I just don't want her voice to be a little overused, because she's one of those mysterious figures that doesn't really work with a lot of people, but has one of the best voices, I think, in the music industry, which is absolutely amazing, and I really wish she'd work on her own stuff, but I don't think we're going to see that for a long time. They take a little bit of a chance on this one with a worship song that says, even if it hurts like hell, and I thought that was just really powerful, the fact that they're taking a bit of a shot on this one. People are going to stop recognizing them. At least a bunch of Christians probably that get this album are going to be a little bit upset about the fact that this is included as a lyric in a worship song, and I think the deeper meaning behind this is the fact that they're not really referring to it as a derogatory term, but actually saying hell itself, sometimes your pain is so strong that even hell itself can compare to the pain that we have. And I think, although that's slightly unbiblical, it's definitely a powerful message, and I really did like this track. There's the track Rule, which is the last one I'm going to talk about. It's a bit dressed up as a dance track, and I did see that in the reviews, and I actually got really excited once I heard. I hadn't listened to the record yet, but I saw that someone had said Rule is a dance track, and that's so awesome. And although it is a bit dressed up like that, and there's some good synth work that sounds a bit like a dance track, it really isn't, and it's not EDM in any kind of way. Hillsong is definitely a worship band. They have electronic undertones, but they're not heading in toward any kind of electronic band path that many of the reviewers are saying they're doing too much. And I really don't think that's the direction they're headed right now. I'd like to see them take a step in the right direction, get back to some harder sounds and harder worship, rather than this kind of a bit lazy sounding, mellowed down worship and electronic influences on this. Like I said, still a very good album. I did enjoy most of it, and this is something that I can listen to a lot, not even on Sundays, but throughout my week. Just very solid material, and something that I can enjoy listening to over and over again throughout the year. And I know it's even better, actually. I realized once, if you listen to Zion and then you listen to Empires, it kind of ties in very well, and I'd suggest doing that. If you're going to listen through this album, listen straight through Zion and then listen straight through Empires. It's going to be about a 2-hour journey for you, but I think it's worth it. And if you haven't listened to Zion, do that yet. Listen to Empires. Both very solid records. Like I said, Empires is a bit of a step back, but I think there's a lot more to come in the future with Hillsong United. So I'm going to give this record a solid 8, probably within my top albums of the year, a little ways under a few of the other records that I've rated a little bit higher. I've given a couple 8.5s, 9s, 9.5s, haven't given it 10 yet other than the Eden Project EP. Anyway, what do you guys think about the album? If you have listened to it, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like I said, very good album. Make sure, actually, to go out and get the deluxe version at Target. It comes with a bonus track called Sunburst, and that's easily probably the best track on the record if you get that version. I really don't understand why they didn't include it in the original, maybe just because it sounded too not like the record, but it's very unique, and you might not be able to find it on the internet, but if you do, just love it, and it's a really good track, so go ahead and check that out and buy the record at Target because it's definitely worth it. Support this worship band. They're going places, and they've already gone places. They're huge inspirations to me and a lot of other people across this world. So like I said, Hillsong United, Empires, go out and get it. Anyway guys, peace out.